Ninjago minifigures are completely subjective. There is no definitive best or worst minifigure out there. There are so many categories, so many items, and so many considerations that you need to take into account when you do think of these minifigures. But one thing that is the most objective stature possible is whether or not the figure is canon or not canon to the show itself. And the realm of non-canon Ninjago minifigures are really interesting ones. On the one hand, you have minifigures that aren't canon to the show that serve as a way to complete certain collections. You have a way to actually have something that makes your ninja team look complete. On the other hand, you have these completely rogue and unique minifigures that are seemingly out of nowhere. They could be inspired off of something by the show, but often as well, you have them that are just completely unique concepts. And those are definitely some of the most fascinating ones that we've ever seen. And that is going to be what we do in today's video. We are going to be going through non-canon instances of Ninjago minifigures. More specifically, we're going to go through at least one instance of a non-canon minifigure for each of the ninja, and also Wu. Weirdly, Garmadon doesn't technically have non-canon minifigures. He does have minifigures that are made of previous parts, but that is about it. But apart from all of that, let's actually get into non-canon introductions to each of the ninja. Now, like I said, I am not going to cover Sora or Aaron in this instance because whilst they do technically have non-canon outfits, for the most part it's just simply they have a different mask. And I'm also not going to cover entire lines within this video. Some of the ninja do overlap, and that's fair enough, but for example, a suit like the Aijitsu suit is not something I'm going to talk about at mass. Maybe one day though if you guys do want that. But let's actually now get into the ninja. Tournament of Sources Kai is a non-canon variant of the tournament suit from Season 2 Part 2 of Dragon's Rising. He does not have it within the show because during that time he is in the Nether Space, but in the sets he does actually get this suit. This is most likely just to simply fill out the gaps in Ninjago collections, so Kai does have an outfit. Also, sets with Kai do sell more, but what's interesting about it is that he's actually a lot more present in the sets than I would have initially thought. I would have expected him to be in a set like the Source Dragon Emotion, but it's interesting that he is in some of the smaller sets that are specifically depicting instances from the tournament itself. That is really strange in my opinion, but fair enough. But the thing is that it's still a really nice looking minifigure. I actually really do enjoy the look, and honestly I do wish we actually got to see it in the show because I do really like it that much. But yeah, unfortunately this one just never came to be. Another non-canon instance of Kai was actually the scuba suit. This is down to the fact that during the season of Seabound he never went with the rest of the ninja underwater to Melopia. He stayed at the monastery with his parents, so that is why it doesn't exist. But of course, inside of the set, again it was done just simply to complete the wave. I am not the biggest fan of the scuba suits in general, I just don't really care for them, but it's fine, and I'm glad that I do have it. I don't know, it's just one of those weird ones. Like, I have it, I think it's fine, but the only scuba suit I really like is Nia. But the thing is, like I said, is that if it can complete a collection, then it completes a collection. And that is what makes me happy. But speaking of scuba suits, Scuba Cole is a non-canon instance of Cole, and in similar vein to Kai, the reason he doesn't exist is because he never went on the Hydro Bounty. He stayed in the monastery as well, but generally speaking, Cole had just a much smaller role within Seabound, and that is why he wasn't actually present there. But again, in terms of the actual sets themselves, it was basically due to fill out the collection. I definitely do like the Cole one more than the Kai one. I like the emphasis on the orange in this suit. It was definitely coming to be by this point, but it wasn't until Dragon's Rising where they really leaned into the orange aesthetic when it did come to Ninjago. So I do like it for that reason. It has a really nice color palette, so I am glad that I do own it myself. The other non-canon Cole minifigure in question is actually his avatar outfit. This one is particularly weird, but again you could probably round it back to the idea that they just simply wanted to complete the set. But this version of him came out in one of the smaller Prime Empire waves, and I do find it really interesting because it does unintentionally foreshadow a future Ninjago season. This outfit is actually depicting Cole as a miner, which is very fitting for Master of the Mountain, so it does feel like it was intentional from them, but maybe also not. But the other thing that I do like about this minifigure is the fact that it does have at least the closest depiction we have to Rocky Danger Buff. The mustache is the giant giveaway here, but besides that, it's definitely just a weak minifigure because the rest of it is just plain black legs and a plaid shirt, but still, it's fine nonetheless. Next up is going to be Zane, and this version of him is the Tournament of Elements outfit. This is a particularly interesting case considering the fact that it actually came out the year after we got the original waves. It didn't actually come with the other guys, which is actually quite curious. I have also personally modified it to make it look more closer to the other ninja, but that's just me. He actually does come with the plain ZX hood instead of the hair and the half mask. Again, it is probably just an instance of LEGO filling out the collection, because around about this point in time, they were basically doing that for a handful of outfits, the main one actually being the Stone Armor Ninja. But the thing is that it's still very interesting to have actually gotten it, especially in the nature that we did, considering that it did come in a battle pack for Skybound. But still, regardless, it's a fantastic minifigure, and I really do like it, but at the end of the day, I was definitely shocked when this thing initially came out. Our first Zane non-canon minifigure is going to be his Spectral suit. This is the most recent and definitely one of the more infamous cases of recent time, because it came out in the largest set possible and was completely exclusive to it, making it very difficult to actually get your hands on it. This was basically LEGO's way of trying to get you to buy the Temple Bounty, because they knew that people would want to complete these suit lines up. But the thing is that it's just extremely annoying, because the Temple Bounty isn't a good set. What's also weird is that they have seemingly cheaped out on him a little bit, considering the fact that he has no crease marks. This was pointed out to me by Krusty, and I literally cannot unsee it. But yeah, for some reason he's also just got some really weird design elements, and we know for a fact that we're never getting this design in the show, so I'm honestly just kind of surprised that they actually did this one. It honestly feels like an afterthought in terms of the sets themselves. But yeah, Spectral Zane. In terms of non-canon Lloyds, we've actually got some interesting ones for him. The first one is actually Samurai Lloyd. This is a book exclusive version of him that, unlike all of the other ones that we've talked about so far, has no real reason for origin. It serves as an interesting what if scenario, and I'm assuming that's the reason why they did it. But considering Ninjago is a theme that has so many minifigures that aren't done yet, this was definitely a weird pick from LEGO. It looks amazing. I absolutely adore this minifigure, but the thing is that I just generally question why this thing exists. There's no reason for it to exist, and a lot of people thought maybe the rest of the ninja were going to get samurais. But the thing is that this has now been released for a while now, and we haven't had any more. But it's still really cool and serves as an interesting minifigure for your collection, but just we do not know what it's actually meant to be. But it's still a fun one regardless. The other non-canon Lloyd is the Lloyd DX minifigure. Of course, I'm going to bring him up in this video. He is possibly the most infamous minifigure in recent time, and of all time, because of the price of him. But he released in 2015 to a gift box, and I believe you had to spend a certain amount of money to get him for free, or you could purchase him separately, but you still had to put in a decent amount of money to get your hands on this minifigure, and good luck trying to get it today. Of course, it's meant to fill out the rest of the DX collection, but it's really weird considering that even though we do have Lloyd, the collection is still not complete, because Nia never got a DX outfit. So I don't know why they did it. I'm assuming just as a promotional thing and just as a fun little extra exclusive, but that's just me. But anyway, it's still a really cool minifigure, and I definitely do love having it, but of course, it's one of those ones where I doubt many people's going to be getting their hands on it unless you already own it. The next non-canon ninja is Nia. The first one we're going to talk about is this Samurai X suit here. This actually came with the Tournament Zane that we mentioned earlier, but this is a completely unique design that we have never seen in any capacity. We also do not know why it exists. It just seemingly was the addition to this battle pack. But remember, it released in 2016, when Nia by this point in time was the water ninja, so it's not like she was actually still Samurai X by the time this happened. It's still really cool, and I actually really do like the suit, and actually came with the accurate head prints for Nia in the Samurai X suit from before. But the thing is that still it just makes me wonder why they did it. It does make me question why something like this would exist and what the actual purpose was, especially in that battle pack where every other character is a canon. So it does just seem to come across a little weird, but it is still a very fun minifigure regardless. Her other one is the Avatar Nia. Now, in similar vein to the Cole one, this one actually does have some form of foreshadowing when it does come to her season of Seabound. Of course, she has taken on a diving suit, very similar in vein to the scuba suit that we did get not long after. But still, this one was most definitely made just to complete the Avatar Ninja collection, which is fair enough. I do like it. I definitely do think it has some charm. I've owned multiple copies of her as well, even though she only comes in one set. But anyways, the thing is that it's still just another fun rendition that does just fill out a collection. Not saying it's a good minifigure or I'd place it high up in my minifigure tier list. It's just simply she fills out a spot that would have been empty, that would have annoyed me otherwise. So fair enough, I'm glad she's here. And then lastly is going to be Wu. Wu actually has a lot of non-canon outfits, strangely. He has a ton from early Ninjago, mid Ninjago, and Dragon's Rising. But I'm going to talk about the Dragon's Rising ones to be specific. The first one is this Master Wu variant that we got in Season 2 Part 1. It came in the Dragon's Shrine set and it has no canonicity that we've ever actually seen, as Wu only used the core suit when in Dragon's Rising flashbacks. It's really cool looking, but just really weird. I don't consider this a case of the LEGO team trying to fill out any sort of gap, because Wu is missing from many waves. It's not like he is in every single line. So his existence is definitely strange to me. I'm wondering if it's just because they wanted people to have a new Wu figure, but it's just really strange that it got this completely new design that's actually really good looking as well. My hope is that we do get to see it one day. Maybe it will be the outfit we see in the future, but as of now, it's just got a really weird existence. But speaking of really weird existence, we also then have Spectral Wu. This version of him is the most recent apart from Legacy that we've had from him. He came in the Legend sets and he shares a ninja outfit with the rest of the ninja, which is just really strange and not like what we usually get. It's cool looking, but the entirety of his existence is just really strange, because again, it's not exactly like he needs it to fill out any sort of gap. My best guess to its existence is just simply because Wu is also in the Legend shorts, but just nowhere near this design. But it's still cool regardless. It's still a unique Wu, if that's a good way of putting it. Also does come with a unique head print, so I will take that. But it's just a really strange existence. I don't know why this thing exists. But yeah, I still like it, but that's just the thing. I like it because it's weird. And I think that is honestly going to be my biggest takeaway when it does come to this video. At the end of the day, what we are looking at is a handful of minifigures that exist to basically fill out slots, to fill out collections, because ultimately it does sell when you offer a new rendition of the same outfit that we've seen before. There are exceptions, of course, like I've shown, but it does seem to be the common case. But still, regardless of that, the existence of these guys is just really strange and fascinating, because it does give us an interesting insight and some interesting designs. But I think this is where I want to hand it off to you guys. What is your favorite non-canon ninja minifigure? I would love to know what your opinion is on this, because I do think there's some really strong contenders, and I have presented a load of my personal favorites today. So I would like to know what you guys think. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching the video, and I do hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please consider subscribing. I love discussing Ninjago with more people. And if you do want to support the channel any further, which you do not have to, you could always become a channel member and join the legends that you see on screen. Each of you, your support means the absolute world to me, and I cannot thank you enough. But like I said, that is about it for today, and take care. Okay,